Hello, welcome back. So let's have a quick look at some of these coins then. I'm not your financial advisor, it's not financial advice. And we'll start with looking at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin here on the 4 hourly. So we did come back down after that announcement that we had the back was going to be listing at some point in September. It was just news, that's all it was. And actually the news wasn't as strong as it should have been, or could have been. And we actually didn't even come up to test this blue box territory here, which would have been the last sort of sign of support before we broke down. So we didn't even get there. We actually bounced, or was rejected, should I say, on this yellow 200 simple. The fact that we didn't get above that and our wick sort of tested it and broke down under it showed me that probably this area is weaker than I thought. And this Bitcoin is actually weaker than I thought, and because we didn't get above there, we didn't even get towards there, we bounced on them, we were rejected on this. It would show me that it's actually getting pretty weak now, and also that the 4 hourly chart is one of the ones to be looking at right now. So yeah, we were rejected from there, and we've now just sort of come down to bounce on the 10,000 area, which is actually quite strong. We didn't go into the territory, so you can see how these supports are really do mean these resistances and supports on the 4 hourly chart really do hold some significance. How this one is clearly bouncing off that 200 simple, and this is clearly bouncing on that 10,000 area. Now what I'm going to say is short term, this one looks relatively easy to work out. We're going to be coming down again to test this 10,000 area a few times probably, and if we were to break beneath this blue box territory, which ends at 9,800, if we were to get a wick beneath there like we did on this occasion, and just remember that this was only saved, this sort of fall was only saved off the back of that announcement. So it's basically just postpones what could be seen as the inevitable plunge into the 9,000s, and maybe lower, let's say. So we're going to keep our eyes on Bitcoin to see if it comes down to test that 10,000 or below. If it gets below 9,800 again, then we'll be looking for a straight free fall over sort of maybe a day or two to this area here, the 9,200 area. That's where we've had our eyes on since we got to around 11,200. We've been waiting for all this to play out and land ourselves a little bit of perhaps maybe scalping territory down here. And the reason this should be a pretty strong area for Bitcoin is because we've had this huge move. Obviously we had this huge move here, obviously bouncing off the 200 EMA there, but on the second run up here, when we were rejected this second time from this descending trend, we came all the way down to that 9,200 area, and that was a big fall as well, a huge fall, and this is where we bounced from, just around 9,075. Actually it was lower than that, 9,075. So we bounced from there quite significantly, actually did quite well for ourselves, rejected on this area, and again look, it's the it's pretty much the 200 simple that was rejected from, similar to how we've been rejected on it on this occasion. So big problems with this one when we get beneath it. So yeah, rejected there, came back down all the way down here, and again bounced on this little area here. This is the 9,200. A sort of stronger bounce on this occasion here because we tested deeper into the blue box there. On this one, we simply dipped our little toes into it before we had this big run up here. So this could be a nice scalping area here. I say scalp, it could be a nice buying opportunity around here. 9,000 to 9,200 area would definitely be, in my book, a worthwhile opportunity to pick some up. Now it doesn't mean that it's definitely going to go up, and I'll tell you why. Because trends get broken, and Bitcoin is looking weaker. As you can see, we've got lower highs on each occasion on each of these runs up, and actually the indicators are now suggesting that this one looks like it wants to go up a little bit on the 4 hourly, but it's pretty weak. The daily wants to come down, and actually the weekly is the one that I'm kind of looking at, because the weekly looks like it's about to, not immediately, but if we continue with this sort of sideways to downwards trend, looks like it wants to make a cross to the down, and that could signify a change in trend. One other thing that I've noticed, actually, only on the 4 hourly. So this is Bitcoin 4 hourlies. They're good to look at small time frame things, but certain things don't really have as much relevance. But this I'm just going to mention anyway. So we can see this green 50 EMA is about to cross beneath this white 200 EMA. That's considered death cross. It's only a 4 hourly and it is Bitcoin. We've had golden crosses, on dailies, so they mean a hell of a lot more than this would mean. But it is about to happen. So that might signify a little further push to the downside. And if that push can push us beneath this blue box territory, which it may do, then yeah, this area here is becoming a little more realistic. Okay, so that's not an enormous fall. It's a lot of money financially. That's from pretty much where we are now. That's almost $1,000 move. But really, for Bitcoin, that's 10%, isn't it? Really, so it's not a great deal. It's a 10% move down, so it's not an enormous fall. When we see altcoins falling at rates of 10% on a daily basis sometimes or more, so it's not such a big deal. But that like I say, that is likely in my book, and this is one of those indicators to suggest in the short term that could actually happen. So when I'm talking short term, I mean I'm talking a couple of days. Maybe it could happen anywhere. It could happen right now, but this is going to make that cross probably within the next 8 hours or so. That death cross will have happened, and we'll see if that has any relevance to it. The death cross will happen, and over the next few days, that might bring us down to 9,200 or lower. Now, just a very brief overview of what would happen if that does happen. Like I say, we bounced there, but if we do break beneath there, the next thing beneath us is actually this blue box here. That's 8,500, and that would be a really interesting event if that comes down that far. First of all, it's a relatively strong area, but because we've not been down there in so long, if that breaks, and it could, because if we fall there and we fall there, we have big green candlesticks like this plummeting down, and the weekly crosses, and this death cross pushes us down a little more, then we've got some real issues. So I'll move to the daily to show you what these issues might look like. And we've got this area here, that's the 8,200. This, at that point, this 200 EMA probably would have made our way up around there at that point when this is coming down on the daily. So that would be a very strong support. We'll say it was going to probably reach around up there, or maybe higher if it comes down. And if that breaks down, if we break beneath this white 200 EMA, look at the last time we were beneath there, was all in this bear trend. All in the bear trend or underneath it. So you can see how important it is to stay above something like that. If we were to break beneath it, then it could be really tragic, absolutely really, really tragic. The next line would be this 200 simple. Now, like I say, we're talking sort of perhaps maybe weeks if this were to ever play out, which it probably isn't going to, but if it ever were to, that will say that could be moving anywhere between 8,000 and 7,500 or so, and if that breaks down, then we could be seeing bitcoins in the 6,000s or so. But this is just not so much a silly idea, but one way that the whole thing could go. At the moment, let's just say that the trend is down, and it's going to continue to be down. I'd say at least for the short term. So we'll move on to Matic anyway. Now we'll leave Bitcoin behind us. So Matic actually is not looking it's not looking too strong. It's not looking too strong at all. We'll go to the Tether value actually rather than Satoshi. So we, again, similar to Bitcoin, we have a descending trend line of resistance. We hit it there, we hit it there, we hit it there, and actually I did have I'll just put it in now, but I got rid of it as well. So we did have a line around here of support that broke as well, so I just took it out because it doesn't mean anything anymore. This one could quite easily hold some relevance to it, so I left that in there. This line here, the 12 cent mark, I'd say would be our next major support area. If this current one breaks down, it's looking a little floppy. It's but it is holding up okay. It's not an exact support because it's running on the 200 simple, but it's around about 1.32 cent, so 1.32 cent, and we're sort of making little bounces on there. But the trend is certainly down for Matic. A lot of these moving averages converging, but now beginning to move down as well. What we really want to do is make our way above those and turn those into supports, but it doesn't look like that's likely to happen anytime soon. And again, what's going to happen, similar to when we had that flag that we had with the upwards trend of support and the downwards trend of resistance, it has to break one way or another. So this will also have to do the same at some point. So let's just say we trend sideways for now. So we're looking between now and probably A move like this could happen at any time, but between now and the 23rd, so quite a way away, is going to have to make a move one way or another. Because these resistances are looking so strong, and we've been knocked down from support to support to support, then I'll probably say that it's likely to break to the down again, and we'll find our way down to 1.2 cent. And if that breaks, we'll be pretty much back down to where we started before this whole thing lifted off, so just beneath or around about 1 cent. And then we'll see how the whole thing works out from there. This could obviously completely go the other way. The 4 hour looks like it wants to make a fresh cross to the up, but it's only very weak. It's not looking great. It's not looking very strong at all. If we do start to make our moves up, then we've got to break above these previous supports, which are now resistances. The first one being around 1.45 cent to 1.5 cent. Now if we can make our way above there, then we've got to get above this descending trend line, which obviously the highest it is 1.6 cent at this very moment in time. If we can break above there, then we're in the blue box territory of resistances, so there's quite a lot of things for Matic to break through before it makes a decent move to the up. And like I say, it looks to me as though everything's looking pretty weak for Matic. The volume's trailing out, as you can see. There's not a great deal of volume left in it. So for those like myself or anyone else who's interested, it might be a good accumulation time, especially when it gets down to this area. I'd say 1 cent Matic is always a rare treat. We've got these announcements, things like Coinbase saying they're going to list it, and there's so much going on in Matic in the future that these prices are pretty attractive for the long-term buyer. But for the short-term buyer, probably not such a great buy, to be honest with you. Not right at this moment, anyway. Anyway, I'll just have a quick look at the Satoshi pairings. So we've had a little bumpy bump, but this is in the wake of Bitcoin. So anytime Bitcoin makes a move down, Matic appears to make a move up, and it's basically because it's not going to fall at the same speed as Bitcoin. Bitcoin's making its own dramatic moves at the moment. Some coins trend alongside Bitcoin a lot more than others, and Matic's one of those that almost does a counter trend. When Bitcoin does enormous falls, and doesn't do it all the time. Sometimes it can be dragged right down with Bitcoin, but at the moment, because Matic looks like it's not bottomed out, but it's bottoming out, it's certainly falling at a lower speed than Bitcoin on most occasions. So we have these little bumps here and there, but again, it's looking pretty weak. And it's actually a bit of a messy looking chart when you look at it, because the whole Satoshi values with all altcoins do look completely messy, because Bitcoin has made such huge leaps, and with its dominance being so high, that it's not as useful really to track that one out as it with Satoshi values as it is actually when you're looking at the Tether values. Tether values seem to be holding a bit more relevance now for Matic than looking at the Bitcoin pairing. Anyway, so just to briefly wrap it up, bottom line support is this trending move. Looks like it wants to break to the down eventually. This descending trend here of resistance is certainly stronger than these supports which keep breaking down. I expect sideways trend with a bit of bias to the down, and next major support being 1.2 cent, and that would be the last major support before we come back down to where we started. Anyway, thanks for watching. I've got a Telegram group now, by the way, lot of Matic followers on there, all coming at it with their different perspectives. So if you want to join, I'll put a little link at the bottom. Join the Telegram, contribute to my channel. Really appreciate it if you join, and I hope to hear from you soon. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take it easy and have a nice day.